All right, welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you by Sphons CCW. Little bit of delay going on. What's our show about tonight? What not to do. And you know what I didn't bring is this class schedule. 725, 726 full. 8 pistol fundamentals. Got a couple slots in that. 8-9 concealed carry. We have some spots open there.
7-11.
823.
823. We do have some spots open. 7-11 personal protection in the home. 823 concealed carry. 912, 913 is defensive pistol. So get on the website and get signed up for something. All right. Show. What we're looking at here is what not to do as a concealed carrier. There's been some pretty goofball videos come out this week, and we're going to kind of take a look at those and tear some of them apart, maybe reinforce a couple points on a couple, but some of the stuff that's been happening is kind of ridiculous. Some of it not so much. Let's take it away here with the first video here. This comes to us from North Canton, Ohio, and if you recognize this area, and of course I've got the sound shut off, but what we're looking at here is protesters, and looks like they're in the middle of the street. The traffic is obviously stopped. Here comes a fella with a black pickup truck, and a protester essentially punching the pickup truck. Now, what I want to point out, here he exits his vehicle. He's pointing a firearm at protesters. One thing we have to understand is he couldn't make the jump to, hey, I'm in fear of death or great bodily harm. He was in his truck. He was stopped. The protesters did not come over to his truck. He inserted himself into the protesters. We've talked a lot about how frustrating it can be when somebody blocks an intersection or a roadway. And here in the state of Ohio, it is not legal to move protesters with a vehicle, bump into them, run over, anything like that. There was only, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 people around the vehicle, which in an open area, if you're confronted by 3 or 4 people, that rises to a deadly force situation. While you're in a truck, it's hard to make that leap because you have the truck protecting you. It would be a different situation if they did try to get into the truck. Changes the whole dynamic. But, and as we can continue to watch, people back off. The video's kind of sporadic. He gets back in the vehicle. I don't know what he throws. Here comes the police. Now they're telling him where to go. Whether or not you agree with them blocking the street or not is kind of irrelevant because it doesn't rise to a deadly force situation in this context.
In a little blurb on the article there, it says it was a police escorted protest.
So yeah, looks like phones are going off like crazy, as normal. So as we move around in this video, a couple things that he should have done. tried to back up and go the other way, gone around. I know this area. There's ways to get around this particular intersection. I know it's frustrating, but I don't know if these folks had an actual gathering permit to be in the roadway or not. But obviously the police weren't pushing them out of the roadway, so I'm imagining that they did. Most of the time, if you have a gathering permit, you can be in the road and kind of make a ruckus of things. But the thing is, he really had no reason to jump out of the truck.
Nope.
He was
why
frustrated.
Would you leave your castle doctrine space?
Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
stay in your castle doctrine space and
Right.
use the truck to your advantage of having a layer of protection, and it looked like a 3/4 or 1 ton diesel Chevy truck.
Yeah. So
7,000-pound truck.
Don't let your emotions rule your action.
and that's the thing. I get, sitting in traffic and waiting, especially with people standing in the middle of the intersections, probably got to be pretty frustrating. But nowhere close was he being attacked. He wasn't. There was nothing
It looked
there.
like they cleared out of the way. He could have just pulled across the intersection
Right.
Yeah.
and been gone.
I mean, even if somebody would have, smacked a truck with their hand or whatever and put a dent in it, I guess that's frustrating and nobody wants that to happen, but still doesn't rise to that level. I didn't see any other weapons in the crowd watching this video.
Yeah, there was one guy that hit or kicked the truck, whatever, when he was driving by, but that was it.
Yeah, I didn't see.
Didn't see exactly what he did.
And I see a guy put himself in front of the truck and try and hold the truck backwards, which is equally as redundant. I mean, that's if the guy's going through you, he's going through. You're not going to stop the truck. And then as the video progresses, it just more of watching what the police are doing and what they're not doing. I do take it from reading a few articles that I don't think he was arrested at the scene, but he was arrested later as we get to this article from the Akron Beacon Journal. And it was the Ohio Community Coalition with Marching North Canton stopped at an intersection blocking it when the incident occurred. Police arrested a man for leaving his pickup truck and pointing a loaded firearm at a group of protesters. This fella faces multiple charges, including a felony. From the confrontation, his age and address were not available. According to press release, Ohio Community Coalition were marching through downtown North Canton and stopped around 6:45 p.m. at the intersection of North Main and Maple, blocking it. Police said Reagan drove a black pickup truck around stop traffic and entered the intersection, where he was confronted by protesters. Police say Reagan got out of his truck and pointed a loaded firearm at the group. He was immediately taken into custody, so I guess I was wrong about not being arrested there. Reagan was taken to Stark County Jail on a felony count of carrying a concealed weapon, a misdemeanor for reckless operation, and a misdemeanor for aggravated menacing.
He didn't even have a concealed handgun license then.
No. So it's really a bad idea, and a lot of people don't understand that inside of a vehicle is considered concealed. So you can't claim open carry of a firearm when you're in the car.
Even if it's laying 100% visibly on the dash, you can't.
Yeah.
That's
kind of one of the misnomers.
even the thing like motorcycles. People always think, "Oh man, if I put it on my side on the motorcycle up, it's open carry." No, that's concealed carry.
Technically, it is open carry because you can see it, but it's not according to the law. It's concealed
Yeah,
carry.
you're exactly right. It's wide open because everybody,
You
can't
can see
miss
everything
it,
on the
but
motorcycle,
Yeah.
but
they consider
legally,
it.
it's
law.
Yep. So the next one we're going to take a look at is Lake Orion, and a little bit of backstory. It looks like there was a fight over parking spot or a minor traffic collision or something like that, right? It's pretty hard to tell what started the incident. But as we jump ahead in the video a little bit here, looks like this is the husband of, or family member, I should say, of this woman that's in the van, and they're recording her. And there's some pretty derogatory comments being flung around by said parties. And I think it goes back and forth a little bit. But as we can once again see, derogatory comments can't actually hurt you. They can hurt your feelings, but they really can't hurt you. Windows rolled up, you're thinking this is the end of this. And it looks like somebody stepped in behind the van as they were trying to leave. Now, at this point in time, had the van gone forward and left, it would have been fine. But what does she do? She steps out of the vehicle and points a firearm at this person. Now, I want to show something. If I can get this to the right point, I want you to watch very closely. She racks the slide on the gun. So not only is she pointing a firearm at somebody who she just had an argument with no escalation of force tactics being used here whatsoever, she had to rack the firearm.
She's got her finger on the trigger.
With her finger on the trigger,
Yeah.
ready to go, over an argument over a parking spot and a dent in a car and somebody standing behind her vehicle. I get the tensions are high in the country at the moment, but this is the kind of stuff that makes garbage laws get passed on carrying of firearms.
And gun control advocates
Are
have
just
a field
going
day with this kind
nuts
of crap.
with this stuff.
Yep. There's no rights. Now, finally, she gets her head about her, and she puts the muzzle towards something that doesn't really matter, which is the ground and a piece of concrete. They get in the vehicle, and they continue to be in the space. Now they're trying to leave. So there's a couple things that we want to apply here. If you've been through one of our classes, we talk about the 5 conditions that need to be met, and then 3 things need to be met by the state. And they didn't have any of them. They had no reason. Once again, derogatory comments and hurt feelings don't rise to this level. The folks in the van had every right to call the police. They had
Sure did.
every right to stop and maneuver the vehicle in such a way to get out of this situation. They had a lot of things that they could have done, and they chose, through lack of escalation of force tactics, to go right to the gun without justification, essentially.
None.
No, they just went for the wild.
None.
Yeah, I didn't see, and this isn't even a protest. This is just a parking lot argument, really. And it's just it's horrible. It's just something. Don't do that. Don't be this person. The last one that we got tonight for you guys has been talked about and talked about and talked about. And I'm sure you've seen these 2 people all over the news. A couple points I want to bring up. Pretty much proven that the folks that are there went through a locked gate onto their private property in the state that they're in. Their castle doctrine protections extend to their property boundary. So while these folks are actually under the law. They are legally allowed to show these firearms while on their property. They're legally allowed to use a show of force and tell these folks to remove themselves from the property. Their level of force is correct because there is so many people. The problem arises when they start pointing the firearm at people who are not armed and or not making aggressive actions to them. Castle Doctrine is not a we get to shoot you because we want to law. It is a legal protection so that if somebody enters your house or residence or in this state property, you get the preponderance of the evidence on your side.
And they had both. If you watch the video front to back, there is some awful trigger discipline.
Yeah.
And we'll watch a little bit of it here.
And the whole time you're watching it, you're going, "Oh, don't fall!
And at one point, she was right in the line of fire.
Well, if we look real
she
quick
sweeps
here,
his head, he sweeps hers. It's
right here. So if we go back a little bit, watch real fast. She's pointing the gun right at the back of her husband's head, and he's yelling. She's got her finger on the trigger, and she's pointing the firearm. Now, I want to point out a couple things here. And if we go back here, I'm trying to get it back to where it's zoomed out. Couple things here. While closely inside of the law here, and the prosecutor's actually mulling over charges for these people, I don't think they should be charged, but a couple tactical things we want to talk about here. Directly behind the striped woman there is a flower pot. Directly behind that is a nice big concrete pillar. That would be called cover. Anybody in the crowd decided to open fire, they're standing out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
To the gentleman's left, looks like a pretty good-sized concrete statue of some sort. That's pretty good cover. And it looks like there's some kind of yard filled with dirt that's elevated you can probably get behind. That's pretty good cover. It also looks like they have steel bars on their door. If you look real close here, it looks like they have steel bars on those doors.
it's some sort of like historic home that they
Yeah.
have. Like
Yeah.
they I mean, it had to have taken them a while. Did you see the gate?
Yeah.
That they went to? It was like a wrought iron,
Certainly.
really iron gate.
Yeah.
I guess it's like some big historical home complex they restored.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They're outside of their wrought iron gate, which takes effort to get through. They might have been better off to close the gate, yell through the gate, not allow anybody to see that they were armed, and be back in the shadows where that if somebody tried to attack them, then they had the distinct advantage.
Would it have been better for them to stay inside there and use their cell phones and take pictures of all the people that
Certainly.
actually trespassed on their property?
Certainly,
Have you
probably
And
seen-
would
called
have.
the
Have
police?
you seen? They're starting to do a lot of that. The FBI and stuff is starting to like compile, like just off social media,
Yeah.
compile a ton, thousands of
Yeah.
images of people at a lot of these protests, and they're able to. That's that guy.
Yeah.
Really?
He destroyed
and just
this.
showing up at the house.
Well,
Got
but
a
the
warrant
thing
for
is,
your arrest now.
you look on here,
Yeah.
they've got multiple avenues.
You know, that looks like a friggin' concrete balcony.
Yeah, multiple avenues of self-protection.
Yeah,
Um,
even on the second story balcony,
look
they
at that
could have
second
got
story. Man, that's like
Yeah.
well, right on the front. It
Right
looks
here?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And
That
the
would have
thing
been a
is,
perfect shot to do a video of everybody's faces.
these
that were,
I guess these two folks are lawyers, right?
Oh.
Actually, they're actually self-defense lawyers, I guess.
seriously?
They're lawyers.
But here's the thing: they may know that they're within their legal right, and they may be able to defend themselves. for their actions. But what I can guarantee you is they weren't trained in tactics.
No, they weren't.
They were not using once again, they're emotional.
Yes.
Because they've got this house and it's this gigantic restored beautiful home. They're worried about it being damaged and they're emotional over that, right? The thing is, where they're standing here and the way they took this on, they put themselves in more danger than they needed to.
Yeah, if they'd have if something would have happened, they'd have been. I mean, they're sitting ducks out there.
Yeah, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah, especially if you don't know how many actual people there are actually in the street.
Certainly,
There could be 100. You know, 2 against 100. Sorry, dude. Somebody's going to make it through there and take your AR-15.
Exactly.
And they got what at maximum like 38 rounds.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't know why
And
this is
with no training, their ability to probably hit anything. He does have a pretty cool AR though.
Yeah, he's got an old carry handle.
Old carry handle AR.
Mm-hmm. Why this is buffering so much?
How long he had it, but
I mean, I think we're gonna let this load here a little bit, but as you can see, and here's the other thing is, the tactics are just so bad in this thing. She turns her back on people that she could reasonably say that could attack her. And
evidently she wasn't that scared.
well, and that's the thing that the prosecuting attorney is going to bring up is, if you can turn your back and walk away, why couldn't
you just keep walking?
Yeah, why didn't you just go back in the house? And call the police. I have no idea whether the police were called on this. I would imagine. I don't think they did anything, but
I thought one article said that they did.
I think they might have called the police.
Yes. Mm-hmm. For people breaking into their private property.
Yeah,
Certainly.
I think you're right. I think it was
But
they.
the owners did it.
no, I don't think this video is going to play for us. But in any event, I guess we've probably seen enough to understand that tactics aren't a well-versed issue with these guys, and looks like playing the video. Just check both screens here.
College degree didn't do you much good out there as far as tactics go.
No,
mm-mm.
no,
Not something they train in law school.
no, they don't. They really don't train that in law school, and it's really a crying shame that these folks didn't bother. They have all this legal training, but they didn't bother to go out and pay any type of money. And what I can tell you, just looking at their houses, they can afford it.
Yeah.
To actually learn how to usefully use the tools that they own, and make themselves better at it.
Right.
So it's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, more than a little bit.
All kinds of ads here. And now we got a news article from Cleveland. And this is kind of a Captain Obvious statement. The Fox 8 I-Team has uncovered a new run on guns.
Really?
Boy, yeah, that took a lot of work. That took a lot of work.
A day late and a dollar short.
It is the second time in months that there's been a dramatic surge in the number of people buying guns, practicing their shooting, and taking classes for a permit to carry a concealed weapon. The second time in months? I didn't think it ever died down.
No.
This is a McFly. What are you doing in here, McFly? Moment.
What planet do you live on?
Yeah. I guess at the Parma Armory, owner Rob Early told us his gun sales have jumped 300% in the last month. He says his gun ranges have been swamped with people coming to shoot, and he has a waiting list for people trying to take classes for CCW permits. Kim Rodecker, a veteran weapons instructor, told us he's never seen anything like the demand right now. Significant, since over the years he says he's taught about 14,000 people. The gun store owner and instructor both say their customers have told them they're more concerned than ever because of tension in the streets locally and nationwide. It's a cross-country problem we have right now. It's just fear with a little civil unrest, Early said. He said the store is struggling to keep up with the demand for guns and ammunition. We've literally taken stuff out of inventory, he said. As soon as we get it out of the box, they're like, I'll take it. You don't even know what it is, he says. So we're trying to educate people as they come in. Kim Rodecker said they're worried about families and they're worried about just going about our day-to-day business. I'm seeing a big increase in people wanting to get a CCW permit so they can carry the firearm out and be safe. Matter of fact, I'd say it's the biggest increase since I've been doing this. And once again, thanks Captain Obvious. The amount of folks has just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
3 months ago, the I-Team showed you lines out the doors of gun shops, a run on guns that started with a COVID-19 outbreak with people nervous about what might come next. I wonder if the I-Team just went to sleep over the last 2 months.
They must have.
Did they, were they busy covering protests or the governor's daily news breaks, or what the heck were they doing? Like, I don't think the lines ever went away. I think people camped out in front of friggin' stores just to buy this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He said, now we see a second wave of people walking through the same doors to buy and shoot guns. New spike, new reason. No, that's dead wrong. Same spike, same reason. Civil unrest.
Mm-hmm.
We met a couple young adults who just signed up for CCW course, one man said. It's more safe. The other said, I need to make it back home to my wife and kids. And at the end of the story, that is the end of the story on that. We also found some stores putting limits on the amount of ammunition anyone can buy, and we're told that too is happening around the country. Yep. First COVID-19, then chaos in the streets. Now more crowds grabbing for guns.
Now more crowds grabbing for guns.
Yeah.
They could have worded that a little better.
It's
Still more crowds.
Still more crowd
Yeah.
grabbing for guns and ammunition and holsters and on and on and on and on.
And that's the thing that we've seen is that the demand has spread throughout the industry, not just guns and ammo. Now people are looking at carry options and holsters and purses and flashlights, and oh my gosh,
Long guns. People are buying long guns. Too. It doesn't matter.
The amount of people that have come in that said, man, first time I've ever thought maybe I ought to buy a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day there's somebody coming in.
Every day.
Every
day.
Flipping day.
Coming in with, I've never owned a gun. I'm thinking maybe I ought to buy one.
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay.
The good news is it seems like with the influx in people getting trained, we've seen a huge uptick.
Yeah, I think after the Sandy Hook thing, there was a huge increase in gun sales and huge increases in ammunition sales. But we didn't really see the training increase.
No, it was just kind of a steady thing, just kind of cruising along.
Yeah. But now it's an entirely different set of folks.
Yeah, entirely different set of folks with an entirely different mindset.
Yeah.
A lot of them are, in my estimation, just pure out and out, have been on the other side of the fence forever.
Yeah. And then the realization that
hey, we better change this.
Something needs to be done.
Something needs to be done.
But the other thing that I see is a lot of folks coming in, they didn't have grandpa, they didn't have dad, they didn't have mom, they didn't have grandma, they didn't have Uncle Joe or somebody to teach them about this kind of stuff, and learn the ins and outs and anything like that. So they come in and they look at guys like us and they're like, we need help with this.
Yeah.
We don't
Right. We
We
don't
don't-
know.
we have no idea.
They're more thought-provoking people that are coming in. Okay, if we buy the gun, we don't know anything about it. We need to find somebody that can show us how to shoot this, how to load it, how to unload it,
Certainly.
how to take care of it.
Yes.
And now they're going to training classes. Yes, let's do the training class.
Yep.
Let's
You're
get the
abso-
firearm and
absolutely
let's
right.
do the training class because this is the steps that we need to take to be safe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so many people. I mean, they're just like, okay, yeah, we need to do this.
Yes.
We need to spend the extra money and do this because this is.
And it goes back to what we said a couple of weeks ago. You really don't know until you don't know until you learn it.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. It's just
Right.
I mean, they decide to purchase the firearm and then they get online and start researching firearms. What brands, what kind, which ones are better than this, da 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 da, and all that stuff. And there's so much information out there, and they realize that, wait a minute, I have no idea how any of this works. How are we supposed to learn that? Then they start searching for training classes.
yeah. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of training classes going on. Which is a good thing. I mean,
Yes.
they're coming in looking for an education rather than a sale.
Yes.
And I don't know how many times in the last couple years people have come in, and thankfully the ones that we like to see are the ones that come in and say, I really don't know what to purchase. And we can help steer them in the right direction. The ones that really kind of take the brunt of it are the ones that go out and purchase something that either isn't useful for their intended purpose, or they're not capable of using, or it's going to take so much extra effort to use that particular instrument that it does them not as much good as if they
They're
did.
actually more not as safe as they could be if they just
Certainly.
went the other way around with it.
Well,
Yeah.
we've all done that. We already played those. We've all played those games already, and we've learned all that stuff, and and gained leaps and bounds on education and experience and stuff like that. And people are seeing that and saying, well, and they're actually listening to you and saying, I might as well take advantage of this because we've done that. We've done this. How many guns have all of us bought and that? Well, that one's not.
Not one.
That one's
Well,
not
that
right.
one's not right.
Don't like that one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So now what do you do with it? I just spent hundreds of dollars on something. Do I sell it for a loss, or do I keep it even though I'm not gonna do anything with
And
it?
go buy another one.
And then still go buy another one.
That may or may not be what you want.
Yeah,
because-
exactly.
Sometimes that's the
Because
fun
you're
of it.
still
Though.
novice.
Well, and when you
Sometimes
get
that
to a
is
certain
the fun
point,
of it,
sometimes
but-
that is the fun of it. You buy, but it certain degrees of people is like, well, I really don't have any useful purpose for this gun, but
I want it anyway.
I want it anyway.
They're calling back. They're really same number.
I'll call them after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the ones that come in. I think we all try to steer them toward the class if they know nothing about what they want or need. It's the ones that come in that they went to the competitors up in Canton and bought this gigantic gun or a revolver, and they're 5'1", and because somebody told them
This
behind
is
the
what
counter,
you need.
this is what you need. That
Or the worst statement in the gun industry, my buddy said.
yeah, my buddy said.
My buddy said you
My
should
buddy
do
said I
this.
could do this.
For the real tiny ones.
Yeah.
That are really hard to hang on to.
Yeah.
Mhm. Then they find out, well, damn, what do I do with this? I don't know, it's yours, man.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Well, the last bit of news we got is the Seattle police have forcibly cleared the lawless protest zone. After what? Two or three or four murders?
Wow,
Four
four or
shootings?
5 shootings, couple
Yeah.
dead.
Um,
One little kid got shot.
Yeah, there's been and they say countless other crimes.
I guess the mayor ordered it cleared following 2 recent fatal shootings. They created officers went shoulder to shoulder, created a makeshift fence with their bicycles, using to push dozens of protesters back away from the center of the Capitol Hill occupied protest zone just east of downtown. They occupied several blocks around a park for about 2 weeks after police abandoned the precinct station following standoffs and clashes that were part of the nationwide unrest over the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. As residents in the neighborhood watched from balconies, police cleared out the protester tents from the park and made sure no one was left in the park's bathrooms. I wonder how many people actually live in that area.
Probably
I know.
several hundred.
They're kind of hard to find that information out.
Yeah.
They're not
I know there's a
really-
bunch of businesses. I saw a news article said there was something like 1,200 different businesses that were in that zone.
I think it's mostly a business zone, but there's
Yeah.
a park there that.
They arrested 36 people charged with failure to disperse, obstruction, assault, and unlawful weapons possession.
Imagine that. Thought it was a peaceful protest.
All right. Said our jobs support peaceful demonstration, but what has happened on these streets over the last 2 weeks is lawless and brutal, and the bottom line is it's simply unacceptable. Well, I could have told you that 2 weeks ago. Once again, thank you, Captain Obvious. One protest organizer, Derek Allen Jones II, said some demonstrators attempted to stay but were surprised by the early intervention by police officers who were trampling everything I seen in sight, flipping tables. Well, that's kind of what happens when they throw you out of a place.
Well, how were they surprised? They told them the day before they had till 5 a.m. to clear out. They were clear. They were going to come in.
Yeah.
Oh, they warned them
They
ahead.
told them the day before,
Yeah.
hey, get out. We're clearing it tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
There you go.
Well, they didn't do anything when they took over the spot, so
Right.
why would
This is
they
true.
believe them that
Says
they were
people
going
were-
to?
That's like getting a warning before the bombers come over.
Yeah.
You better leave or you're going to bomb you.
Well, we did that too. People were trying to hold their ground, but you could see the cops literally storm through the people's beds while they were sleeping. Once again, we warned you. Literally says, if you don't get out, we will force you out or arrest you, he said. One man dressed in black was peacefully led away in handcuffs, and other demonstrators sat on the wet ground until their small group was handcuffed and detained.
Not leaving until our demands are met.
Yeah, I don't think they won that one.
Sorry.
They tore down fences that protesters had erected around their tents, used batons to poke inside bushes, looking for people who might be hiding. One officer took down a sign saying, "We're not leaving." After police evicted the protesters, heavy equipment was used to remove the concrete barriers, cart away debris from encampments, while officers strung yellow caution tape from tree to tree, warning people not to re-enter. I was stunned by the amount of graffiti, garbage, and property destruction, Gus said after she walked around the area. The recent public safety threat have been well documented. Mayor Jenny Durkin said at a news conference Wednesday afternoon these acts of gun violence resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 teenagers with multiple others seriously wounded. Despite continued efforts to de-escalate and bring the community together, this violence demanded action. Durkin also said while she supported the police in making arrests Wednesday, she doesn't think many of those arrests for misdemeanors should be prosecuted. She also said she was committed to work with what would dismantle systemic racism and build true community safety. Events in the Capitol Hill organized protest zone this morning, while necessary, should not diminish the cause of racial justice, Governor Jay Inslee said in an email statement. Best said in addition to fatal shootings, robberies, assaults, violence, and property crimes have occurred in the area in the last few weeks. She said she wanted police to move back into the precinct so officers could better respond to needs in the area. Protesters have said they should not be blamed for the violence in the area. Well, they were the only ones there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't me.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know,
How does that make sense?
property crimes have occurred in the area in the
You
last
don't
few
have
weeks.
a liberal mind.
You
Oh.
closed the entire area. You stole the dang property. People own that. There have been mounting calls by critics, including President Trump, to remove the protesters. A group of local business owners sued the city, claiming that officials abandoned the area and made it impossible to run a business because there was no police or fire protection. I wonder if they'll win that. U.S. Attorney General William Barr praised Best for what he called her courage and leadership in restoring the rule of law in Seattle. I think she should have done it 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Chief Best has rightly committed to continue the substantive discussion while ending the violence which threatens innocent people and undermines the very rule of law, principles that the protesters profess to defend, he said in a statement. Seattle's Black Collective Voice, which formed by people in the protest zone, said previously that their work would continue even if they were forced out of the area. On Wednesday afternoon, the group said via Twitter, "We don't end with CHOP." Associated Press video journalist Aaron Renans in Seattle and writer Rachel LaCourte in Olympia, Washington contributed to the report. Well, it looks like they are out of luck and out of the CHOP zone. What was that TikTok video? What did that guy call that place? Antifa-stan?
Yeah, Antifa Stan, I think.
Soymalia.
Soy milk.
There was something else.
So, I don't know if it
Oh,
was
the Soviet Union.
the Soviet.
The Soviet Union.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what if it, I don't know if the video was right, but I saw a video the other day that supposedly was at like the 4:30 in the morning or 5 a.m. when they were doing it. That the protesters met them at the basically at the gate, and the police they took them big canisters of pepper spray and just hosed them down, and they backed off about 10 feet, and then probably almost simultaneously about 30 tear gas canisters went off in the crowd, and they all just went running. Whoa! But it was just like boom, 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 boom. The place was just a cloud, and they just because they brought the bicycle cops in, and they just ran the bicycles out in front of everybody, and they just kept walking, like somebody be on the front, one on the back, and just walking them forward, and they just kept going, just boom, boom, boom,
Pushing them back.
and just
Yeah.
I guess the police station is just this. Probably going to be there's going to be millions putting it back together.
Really?
Yeah.
They
Well,
did end up in it?
Oh yeah, they because they had it. It was behind their line, and they went in and it just.
Well, I know they said that the police went in and when they first took over, went in and took out all the expensive equipment and all their files and everything. It got out one of the doors, and then they boarded it up. But I didn't.
Yeah,
They got in it. Yeah, of course they did.
When they kept posting pictures of people like, oh, look how nice it is in here. You know, there's like fruits and vegetables, stuff like that. It just says free on there, and they're even the businesses are supporting this. Like, you completely surrounded their business and
Yes, this is the fourth time that person has called you.
completely
Somebody is
surrounded their
really,
business and
really-
pushed it out of place.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you gave them you essentially gave them no choice. Give me the food and the stuff that you have, or we're gonna take over. We're just gonna take it.
Yeah.
Well, to save the store, you just put all the crap outside. Just take it.
Yeah.
Just take all the products.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of places that did that. They just emptied the
Yeah,
store
but then
and
the narrative was, see, even they're in favor. They got free food and this and this and this.
well, they couldn't sell any food because really,
The people didn't have no money.
well, they didn't have any money, but the majority of the people that would have gone in to purchase all that stuff were blocked out of the area. So how are they going to sell their product? So they're giving it away before it spoils, and they really lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it away. Give it away. Plus,
Yeah,
will save my storefront. If I try to lock the doors up, then
they're
You're
just
just
going to
gonna
smash
smash
it,
through 'em.
go in, and,
Right.
yeah, take it anyways, plus whatever else they want.
we were talking about it last weekend. It really, I laughed like it's like, I guess, Trump didn't take the bait and just go smash it.
Yeah.
And he proves that the left does want strong borders. They do want good security. And their socialism, their little mini 2-week socialism experiment didn't work. Somebody took over the place by that Raz guy or whatever. He armed a bunch of people and then basically took over as the force to be reckoned with. And then I guess if you look into some of the new stuff, some guys have actually sat down and like the estimated population and the crime and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
gotta be
that-
retarded.
Based on the statistics that they have, just for the 2 weeks that it was there, it has had the most corrupt police force ever and the worst black on black crime.
What about deaths by gun?
That had a high rate of that too.
Yeah, 'cause there's only like 350 or 375 people in there.
Yeah. The crime rate was the worst, like the worst in the country, like terribly bad, and it had an extremely corrupt police force.
Well, let's just. So what you're saying is anarchy doesn't really work.
Exactly.
Well, neither does socialism.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's it. Did you see the Tucker Carlson?
Mm-mm.
He had a segment on that, and one of the guys, right after they did this chop, whatever you want to say, there was a reporter that he had talked to, and he brought him back. And he asked the reporter on the first one if he was in there, and he said, no, a friend of mine who's a reporter went in there, and he was beat up really bad, so I haven't dared go in there. I've been staying on the outskirts on it and talking to him and stuff. And they brought him back. And they were going, it's kind of comical. It was kind of sarcastic and funny at the same time. If you've ever seen any of the Tucker Carlson ones, he gets kind of, but they were talking about what are they going to do with the people, because now they are illegal immigrants because that's their own country. And should we, how should we put them back into the United States? And, are the citizens of Seattle going to accept this? It was kind of comical. You'll have to look it up.
You're going to have to file that with immigration.
Yes,
No kidding.
basically, yeah.
Your visa's been denied.
Yep. I mean, it was kind of comical.
All right, guys. Well, that's what we got. We're going to cut a little short tonight. I hope everybody enjoys their 4th of July weekend. Don't blow a finger off with fireworks, and we will see you guys right back here next week.
And the store will be closed tomorrow.
Yes, the store will be closed tomorrow so that we can attempt to blow ourselves up with fireworks.
No, we're not gonna.
Speaking of which, I forgot my extra fire.
Oh, yeah. Well, have a good 4th weekend, guys.